Hi, this is Brian with ActiveMelody.com. In this week's guitar lesson, you're going to learn how to play a really cool Boogie Woogie style blues shuffle that works on an acoustic or electric guitar, and you're playing this by yourself. You don't need any jam track or any accompaniment. Just grab whatever guitar you've got and follow along. I'm going to explain where all the notes come from so that they make sense to you. You're not just memorizing something, but you're understanding it so that you can start to use all of these licks when you improvise. I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this video, we'll take a look at the first half. If you'd like to watch the second half and get the tablature and access the on-screen tab viewer for this lesson, you're going to want to go to ActiveMelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP284. Alright, so let's talk about the song structure for this. We'll talk about the chords that are used. The song is played in the key of E, and it's pretty much a 1-4-5 chord progression. Your E chord, your A chord, your B chord, all of the chords that we're familiar with when it comes to playing 1-4-5, 12-bar blues. There is one chord, however, which is the F-sharp 7 chord, or the F-sharp dominant 7 chord. That's going to be your 2 chord, and that's a major 2 chord. Now typically, if we're following the major scale and what each chord should be in the major scale, the 2 chord is typically a minor chord, but we're going to make it a major chord when we play it. Now we're not going to get to that just yet. I'm just letting you know that there's that F-sharp chord that's thrown in there as well. And that you hear that in like ragtime blues and stuff. It just kind of colors the music in a different way. It gives you a little more variety. Okay, so let's start with the intro. So the song starts with this intro that I only play once and I never come back to it. And it goes like this. So let's start with just that part of it. Now what's really cool about this is we're going from the major pentatonic scale. That's major. See how it sounds happy? And then the second time, I didn't quite go all the way to the major pentatonic. I went into the minor pentatonic. Sounds more sad or bluesy or serious. And I'm fascinated by just changing that one note. It can pull this in a different direction. So I want you to remember these licks, these notes that we're going to play, and how they connect back to this chord shape. Let me show you how to play them first, and then I'll help you connect these dots. So with the right hand, we're going to be playing alternate picking, down, up, down, up, down, up. So it starts with a downstroke, and we're starting on the second string, which is the open B string. And then we go right into a hammer on there, which is the 2nd fret, 2nd string. And then an upstroke on the 1 string, or the E string. So we have... And then I'm going to take my middle finger. I'm doing all of this, by the way, this intro with just my middle finger so far on the left hand there. And then we're going to slide from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret on the 1st string. And we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the right hand. So let's analyze just that, just those few notes that we've learned and how they connect back to this E chord shape. Remember, we're playing this song in the key of E. So if I took this E chord now and look at those notes that we've learned, you can start to make music out of just a few notes. I'm just taking those notes that we've just learned and I can already start to pull a melody out of it. So don't think that you have to learn all these scales and you have to get super, involved in theory and, just blowing your mind to be able to make music. Music can be very simple, and the best stuff always is. At its root, it's very pure and very simple. So just keep that in mind as you're trying to improvise or write your own stuff. Okay, so we have... Now the second time through, I did the same thing, same start, but then I only slid up to the 3rd fret on the 1st string. Again, I'm only using my middle finger so far with the left hand. Alright, right, now the chords underneath that, the one chord would be, you know, the first one would be your E chord. The second, when we come here, that could either be the E diminished 7 or it could be the A7. Either of those chords have that note in it. So just keep that in mind. If you were to be playing this with a friend and you want to know what chord to play underneath it, you can play either of those chords. And I put that in the tablature as well. Alright, so we have... Now the third time I went... So let's get that. So it starts the same way. Slide up to the 4th fret just like we've done. And then we're going to play the open 1 string. And then we're going to come to the 2nd fret 2nd string. And then we're going to play the open 2nd string. So these are notes that we've already played. We're just putting them in a different order now. So we have... And then we're going to play that open 1 string again. You can see I'm still just milking these, you know, 5 notes here. And just putting them in different orders, but I'm getting a different feel out of them. So from the beginning we have... And then after that I went... the same thing as we did in the intro. The hammer onto the 2nd fret. And then the open 1 string. And then there's this little bluesy thing that goes... So that's going into minor pentatonic scale. I'm sliding from pattern 1 to pattern 2. Pattern 2 is right there. So I'm starting that on the 3rd string. I'm using my middle finger, 2nd fret, sliding up from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret. And then my index finger goes down on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Okay, so from the beginning, and then I slid from the 4th fret back to the 2nd fret, open 3rd string, hammer on to the 1st fret 3rd string, and then an upstroke on strings 1 and 2 or string 1, either of those, but it's just an upstroke, grabbing the top part of the E chord. So, and notice my left hand goes ahead and makes the full E chord. It just does that by default, because that way I can play when I'm doing my upstroke. I don't just have to limit myself to the top strings and hit the whole chord if I want. Alright, so that's the whole intro then. And then we go into the 4 chord. The song starts, that's all a setup to get us to the 4 chord. And that's what we're going to learn first. Now what I'm doing with my left hand is I'm going ahead and barring the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret. I'm keeping that 5th string open though, because that's your A string. Remember, your A is your 4 chord. And I've got a shuffle going with the right hand. In fact, I've got a shuffle going through this entire thing, even for the intro part. We're not playing it on the beat like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not robotic. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got a little bit of a swagger to it. And you keep that swagger through the whole thing. That's what gives you the blues when you're playing that kind of boogie woogie. Sounds like the old boogie woogie piano line and everything. It's not, if you play it on the beat, it totally loses the mojo. It's that swagger. That's what you got to work on with the right hand. Da, da, da. And all you're doing is you're accenting the downstroke. Da, da, da. You're hitting it a little harder than the upstroke. And it actually becomes fairly easy to do once you get used to it. Okay, we're barring the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret. We're starting on the open 5th string. We're going to go down, up, and then my middle finger goes down on the 3rd fret, 3rd fret 5th string, and then ring finger goes down on the 4th fret 5th string. So we have, and then we're going to play the 4th string, and then we're going to come up here and play the 4th fret 4th string. Now notice this bar here on the 2nd fret stays down the whole time. And then there's an upstroke on the 3rd string, again behind this bar here. Standard boogie woogie blues in A right there. And then we go right back down to the bottom where we started, which is that open 5th string. And play it again. Just up to there, up to that 4th string. and then I went. So that's the ring finger on the 4th fret, 4th string, and then release it and do an upstroke, which is behind the bar there. So let's play that whole A part. It goes. Now that's awesome right there. I'm telling you, if you learn nothing else, if this entire composition is too difficult or too boring or whatever, this piece is worth its weight in gold, because now as a rhythm player, you can play this fast, you can play it slow, you can put it to whatever feel you want. I use that all the time. It works in country, it works in blues, it works in rock. It's very, very useful. And what's cool is as we're about to go to the 1 chord now, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to take our finger and move it up 1 more string, still on the same fret, still on the 2nd fret, but now we're barring the first 4 strings, first 5 strings rather, on the 2nd fret. And we're going to go. So we're playing the same shuffle, same boogie woogie thing, but now we've just started on the 6th string instead of the 5th string. Everything else is the same. All right? Let me pause there and take it from the intro all the way up to that point. Pretty cool. You can start to see it coming together. Now once I hit that low 6th string again, I played this. And that's kind of like a little hiccup that happens in the rhythm. So it's just that open 6th string, and then I let my finger, which is already barring there anyway, I go ahead and hit strings 4, 3, and 2, and do a hammer on. Open 3rd string, hammer on to the 1st fret, and then the upstroke there, which is hitting the top, it's just the top part of your E chord. So, and I use that little hiccup all the time when I'm playing an E. I mean, I use it pretty much every time I'm playing any kind of rhythm in E. It's just very useful, and you hear piano players using that same technique, and just about every blues guy will do that at some point. Okay, so now this is where the song would switch. If we were playing a rhythm guitar, we would be playing that F sharp 7 chord there. But I'm not playing the chord. I'm just going to keep that boogie woogie feel going. And so what I ended up playing was like a walking bass line, exactly what I would hear a bass player doing. Pretty cool. You're just walking from all the way from that F sharp note, which is in the 2 chord, the major 2 chord that I explained. We're walking it all the way up and then all the way back down. So we're going from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret on the 6th string, the open 5th string, 1st fret on the 5th string, then we're going to play the 2nd fret 5th string, 4th fret 5th string. I'm going to show you the notes first and then help you understand how to think about it. Open 4th string, 1st fret 4th string, and now we're going to walk it back down. So that's the top of the hill, that's the 2nd fret now on the 4th string. Now we're going to go open 4th string, come down to the 5th string and play the 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, all on the 5th string, open 5th string, 4th fret 6th string, 2nd fret 6th string, down to your open 6th string. Now that's a lot of notes. Now when you're playing them, you're not going to play them one at a time. You're going to do 2 of each. Down, up, down, up, down, up. So there's 2 of each one of those notes. Now that is awesome practice material there to get that shuffle down. Trying to lock in on a single string like that and play the shuffle 1 fret at a time like that as you walk up and walk down, going across strings. It's a great way to practice that. So that would be a good way to practice, putting on a metronome. Now the other thing I'm doing is I'm using a little bit of palm muting. You don't have to do that, but it gives it a little fatter sound. It sounds more like a bass player, really. All right, so let's go over that bass walk up one more time. It starts here on the F sharp note. Okay, now once we get to there, once we get back down to the E note, then what I played was a different rhythm pattern. It's keeping the same tempo, but I just mixed up the rhythm. It's got kind of a John Lee Hooker thing going on there. That's what it sounds like to me, or kind of where my head goes when I hear that or feel that, I guess, as I was coming up with it. I ended up playing it 8 times. So this is where I'm out of the typical format, but because 4 just seemed too short as I was doing it. It's like we've gone to this new part in the song, and it seemed like it needed to hang out there for a little while. So that's why there's 8 of those. That's 1, that's 2, so forth. So it goes 8 times. Now let me show you how to play this. This is an awesome, awesome takeaway because it's another rhythm style that you can learn and use when you play. And you can play this over any chord, anywhere on the neck. We're going to learn it over an E first. And with the left hand, we're just going to make an E chord. But with the right hand, we're going to start by playing down, up, like this. That's the first thing we're going to learn. So it's just down. So we're playing the bottom part of that E chord. So just the bottom strings of the chord, not the full chord. So it's down, up, muted down, and then up. So just get that far first. And that's pretty easy. You should be able to do that. Even if you have to do it slowly, that's okay. So we ended on an upstroke. Right? Now to conclude this rhythm part, we're going to play up, down, up after that. So we're going to go up, down, up, down, up. Now look at the left hand, what's happening. We're going to play the E chord, which we're on, up, and then when we do the down, I'm going to go ahead and bar here, so I'm playing an A chord actually. So I'm just hitting just kind of the middle strings there, 4, 3, and 2. And then I'm going to take my hand off the fretboard and do another upstroke, but play strings 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to try and hit those strings. If I can only play strings 3 and 4, that's okay too. You're just hitting those notes. Now that sounds wrong and totally out of key and everything if you just hear it on its own. But when you're playing it up to tempo, it's really more of a percussive thing than anything. So even if you're playing it in a different key, you could still hit those open strings just quickly there so that your hand can get in position. But you're filling the notes, you're filling the space with something, and that's that rhythm of the notes there. All right, so the second time through, again, is up, down, up. So let's put the 2 together now. We have down, up, muted down, up, down, up. So you can see it's already starting to come together now. And I use that all the time if I'm playing in the key of E. You could do this in the key of G or any key. If you think about these 3 fingers making that E chord shape, I'm just moving it up. So you can start to use that, that rhythm style, and it works whether you're playing something really slow or really fast. You get into kind of that Zydeco feel, or you know, however you want to look at it, or if you're playing really slow. Throw in some fill licks. Alright, so you can start to see how useful that little rhythm pattern can be. Now I also threw in, just to give it a little variety, or shake things up in this one place, I went, did that same thing that we used in the intro. It's the second string, open second string, a hammer onto the second fret, and then an upstroke on the 1 string. So I threw that in the middle of it. Let me play this entire rhythm now with that little extra lick in there, and you'll see where it fits in. So it goes like this. Right there it was. I did 8 of these. And then I stopped and go into this whole second part. Now we're going to end this part 1 video there. I think that's a good stopping place. We've covered a lot of material already. And you've got a lot of great takeaways. Now if you're a premium member, you know that you have access to the tablature, the on-screen tab viewer, the part 2 video, and obviously all of those things help you to be able to learn this easier. If you're not a premium member, you can at least follow along with the first half there and just write down everything that you need to do to be able to play this and use it when you improvise. So let me back up and play through this entire first half up to that point. One more time, I'll go through it slowly, and then I'll see you in part 2 so we can learn the rest of this. All right, here we go.